For ACUSports.com, I'm Grant Boone, talking some Wildcat men's hoops here with head coach Joe Golding, getting ready to start his 6th season. Coach, practice is underway. Give us a quick recap of the first few.
Yeah, we had practice 4 yesterday. Isn't that crazy? We start so early now. We've had good practices. I like where our team is. So you can tell there's been some growth and some maturity. Last year, first practice, we had so many freshmen and young guys. It was like a kid in a candy store. Everybody was going crazy and excited and yelling and screaming. And this year, a little bit different attitude. It was like, hey, here we go. It's time to go to work. This is practice number 1 of 92 practices. So I think there's been some growth, some maturity of that way. But we like where our team is. We like where we're headed. And we like their work ethic right now.
Just a quick recap of the roster changes. You say goodbye to 4 seniors who you believe will be remembered very favorably when people look back at ACU basketball, right?
Yeah, they did a great job. All 4 have different stories. They had different paths here at ACU's. 2 were here for 2 years. 1 was here for 3, and of course Parker was here for 4. All 4 have graduated from Abilene Christian University. They've gone on to do great things with their degree. Duran's playing overseas. Cook's back in Scottsdale, going to work in the real estate market. Parker is in dental school, and Jalen Little is an assistant coach up in Nebraska with his former JUCO coach. So we're extremely proud of those 4. They were a great senior class. It couldn't have been. It was perfect timing with so many young kids that we have. We were extremely blessed to have a group of seniors that had gone through a bunch of adversity, They did an extremely good job of teaching our young kids what a Division I student athlete looks like.
About those young kids, they can play, can't they? The freshman of the year last year in the Southland Conference was Jalen Franklin. He's now a sophomore. If Jalen hadn't won the award, it might have gone to Jaron Lewis, who was also tremendous in his first season from Orlando, Florida. But they've got a lot of pieces around them. You only have one senior in Jovan Sirnic, and when you look at this roster, you have a lot of youth, but experienced youth, don't you?
Yeah, it's weird. You know, I think we're probably going to be one of the youngest teams in college basketball this year, but we're also bringing back a bunch of young kids that played their freshman year. That doesn't happen in a lot of college programs at this level. Most of this level, you see it sometimes at the high major level with one-and-done guys, but at this level, it's teams that have success are usually older teams with juniors and seniors. And so we feel very fortunate. Obviously, Jalen Franklin and Jaron had great years for us and played a lot of minutes. They both averaged over 20 minutes a game and were great. Hayden Howe and Hayden Farquhar got a taste of it. They both averaged around 10 minutes a game. Obviously, Jay Frank and Jaron had great summers, but Hayden Howe and Farquhar, the confidence of their the minutes they played last year has carried over. They both have maybe had better summers than anybody in our program as far as putting on weight, really getting in the gym and working on their game, and I expect both of those guys to have really good years as well.
We're going to be introducing you to guys like Diamante Langston and Peyton Ricks and some guys like that, but there is a guy who was here last year redshirting named Jelani Friday, who certainly has at least the potential, hasn't suited up once in a game yet for ACU, and so you're always cautious, but you're cautiously optimistic, aren't you?
Yeah, you can't coach size, and that's something we've struggled to get, and depth at that. You know, you look now, we have Colton Cole, Jelani Friday, Hayden Howe, Hayden Farquhar, so we're starting to get some size.
All 6'7" or higher.
Right, at a position that's tough, and so we've kind of transformed our roster over the last year or two. But Jelani's done well. He's got a long ways to go. He has to learn how to play hard every possession. He has to learn to be consistent, and obviously he has to get in there and compete and play games and get experience. But again, you can't coach the tools that he has. He's a very talented kid. He can do a lot of different things on the floor, and we're extremely excited to have the opportunity to coach him and watch his growth.
And he's one of your best outside shooters at 6'8", 230, isn't he?
Yeah, he can really shoot the basketball. He can stretch him. In fact, that's probably what he did primarily more than playing inside. You know, we've tried to spend the last year and a half that we've had him here on campus really learning to be an impact player inside. Obviously, outside, he can really shoot the basketball. He's skilled. He can pass. He can dribble. And so he'll be a player that will float and do both things for us.
You moved last season into the top 8 in the conference standings at season's end. In fact, 7th out of 13 teams, which would have qualified you for the conference tournament had you not been in this transition, which, by the way, ends this year. This is the 4th and final year of the transition. Before you get to conference play, you have a non-conference schedule that I want to talk about briefly. Obviously, headlining it is that team from Norman, Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Sooners, a team that went to the Final Four last year. They lost Buddy Hield and some others, but what Coach Lon Kruger's done up there is pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a ton of respect for the program at the University of Oklahoma, and I've personally got a ton of respect as long as our staff for Coach Kruger. He's been in this business a long time and is one of the one of the better coaches in our game, and will be remembered for that long when he's done. So it's a great opportunity for me as a coach to be able to coach against a guy that you've always watched work the sidelines, whether it was in college or whether it was in the NBA. And then obviously for our guys, the pinnacle of college basketball and Division I athletics is the Final Four, and University of Oklahoma was a part of that last year. So to put our program on the floor with a team that's been at the pinnacle this recently, it will be a great day for Abilene Christian basketball. We've had some neat opportunities over the last 3 or 4 years, and again in our journey, and this is a great opportunity for us to put our program against a great Big 12 opponent. Obviously, it's a great guarantee game for us because it's regional, it's close, we don't have to get on a plane, and hopefully it's a game that our fans recognize and we can get some ACU fans to support us up there.
Well, I think because it's the day after Thanksgiving, there is a chance for folks in the Metroplex. If you're in Lubbock, if you're in Midland, one of those places, it is a drivable kind of game. One last thought about the rest of your non-conference schedule. There are some tremendous names in terms of history. University of San Francisco, Bill Russell's alma mater, led them to some NCAA titles. But in addition to Oklahoma, some schools that are a little bit closer to where ACU's level is, right? That mid-major level.
Yeah, we've got a very competitive schedule. I mean, New Hampshire returns their whole team and would probably be picked to win the league. Obviously, Sacramento State, 2 years ago when we played them, had a great season and won 20 games. They've got a lot of back. I've heard they've got one of the better mid-major forwards in the country. And then Charleston Southern, obviously we're going to play them home and away the same year. So a little different schedule than what we've done in the past. Scheduling is tough at our level. We want to get more home games, but it's hard. We got kind of thrown for a loop there with the Sacramento State not being able to go back there last year. We're having to return that trip this year. So we're having to go to East Coast and West Coast. But at the same time, Grant, I think it's a competitive schedule. It's a fair schedule.
Meaning?
Well, we're not going out and playing 8 high major teams like we've done in the past, and we're staying away from the MTE event this year, which is brutal in the travel for our student athletes. And so I think it's a fair competitive schedule. We're going to be challenged. We're playing some really good teams, although the name recognition might not be there from the sense of the Oklahoma and the New Mexico. They're really, really good coached teams. They're good basketball teams, and it will definitely prepare us for conference play.
Well, November 11th, the season begins at home against Schreiner. Coach Joe Golding's 6th season at ACU. For Coach, I'm Grant Boone for ACUsports.com.